but what is a more practical way of us as a community to support you, to uplift the voices of Armenian writers?
You can contribute. That would be very important. We have a very big event happening in Midtown on August 8th, which is coming up very soon. And you can learn more about it if you go online. That is one huge way to support us, to subscribe to our newsletters, to have an idea of writers who are having their work published, and just to know more about the literary world and the Armenian writers that we support. Just go online and read. Just read about everything that we are doing, because we're always doing something. We have a literary lights program, which is also wonderful. For example, my book that released in January, and this is for any Armenian writer with a book being released, we have something called Literary Lights. And so we are featured, we're in conversation with another writer, which is great, and we get to read from our work. There's a Q&A. It's just a wonderful, wonderful organization, and it's so crucial because we're international. So as I may have mentioned or not, we have a chapter in LA, we have a chapter in Yerevan, we have a chapter in New York, and so I am the New York City chapter leader. And for this event on August 8th, we're going to have Kristen Rupenyan, who's a wonderful writer, reading for us. Mm-hmm. We have Alan Samirjan, who is a poet and musician, who will be performing. And I will be introducing myself as the New York City chapter leader, as well as just welcoming all the members and non-members who are attending the event.
You know, in any leadership position, we work with constraints, especially in the Armenian community. There are constraints. But you, as a leader of the Yalla of New York chapter, what would you like to bring into the arena through this organization?
So one of the things I would really love to do is just simple events like let's get together and talk about our writing, for example, for all the writers who are members. Let's share about all the literary events for Armenian writers with the New York City community or with the tri-state area. That would be really important. Or maybe we get together and we share our work and talk about the poetry or the literature that we've been reading that inspires us. So there are many, many things that can happen in that way.
You know, Aida, a few minutes ago we were in the other room and you said something which is so important. And you said this experience is such a beautiful experience, and one day I'm going to write about my visit to the radio. But when we look back, we can easily connect the dots that brought us to this point in time. What were the forces that really influenced you, that looking back, do you realize that everything that happened led you to this position of whatever you're enjoying? What can you tell us about what prepared you for this position?
Do you mean in Yalla or as a writer?
As a writer, as a person, as somebody growing up in whatever environment.
Oh, that's a great question. How did I even get here? Wow, that's a really, really big question. Just like every other writer, I loved writing and reading as a child. I had my marble notebooks that I filled with stories that were stacked in my bedroom. Like everybody else, I read so much more than I did anything as a child. I really did. And it was actually my stepfather, the late Ari Sevag, who really, really supported my work. You knew him, right?
Absolutely.
So I would go into his office and I'd say, can you look at this poem or can you look at this story? Mm-hmm. And he would give it back to me and it would be covered in red ink. And he'd say, Kana, go fix it. Avorche. You know. So and it was through his encouragement that I took myself a lot more seriously. I really did. So he was really the person who truly supported my writing in a very, very real way. He was a wonderful man, and if any of you here know who he was, a wonderful and gifted translator and a scholar.
You know, you were lucky enough to have Ari Sevag, and anybody in the community knows the name Ari Sevag and his contribution. He was an institution, honestly. But you had Ari Sevag. Many people who don't have Ari Sevag, what is your words of advice to young people who want to join, want to write, enjoy writing? There's so many people out there who enjoy the English courses in school, in high school. They enjoy writing, but how can they really pursue a writing career?
You know what's funny? Somebody asked William Saroyan. I'm going to answer your question through William Saroyan. I really want to be a writer, Barun Saroyan. How do you become a writer? And he said, if you want to become a writer, write. And that's all I could say, because more and more what I find when I speak to young writers is they think and they think and they think so much about writing and they don't do the writing. Be brave and write the terrible thing, because failure is really when you're doing nothing. That's what really failure is. When you do nothing, that's when you're failing. It's when you're doing something regardless of what happens to it, because truthfully, I am going to say this. And I just realized this, and I was wondering what you thought about it. When we are doing something, the outcome is not the goal. The task is the goal. The task is the goal, not the outcome. Don't be attached to the outcome. So when you are writing a poem or you're sewing a dress, you're paying attention to what you're doing in that moment, and that is the thing that's important. Not that you're producing the beautiful dress, not that you're writing the best-selling novel. Don't be attached to what it's going to become. Your goal is your task.
I know you do teach and you do work with younger teenagers, and how do you see them, and what is your advice to them, and what is your advice to Armenian teenagers, and what could you tell them to join in or find more about Yalla?
You know, it's funny, we don't really have a cutoff as far as age. Maybe it's like mid-teens, but I would say, for example, if you're a poet, submit your poems every spring to YAPA, the Young Armenian Poets Award. It's extremely important. The mentorship program that we have is for older. Well, again, I think it's 18 and above. Submit your work. Never assume it's going to get turned away. I know, for example, there is a new literary journal that is being created that just came together. His name is Vlad Magurdichian, and he just got this journal off the ground. It's called Noor, Noor. And so there are slowly opportunities that are opening up for young Armenian writers. But the most important thing is to just keep writing and stop assuming that no one wants to read your work, that your work is bad, that your work's getting turned away. And even if it is, so what? You just have to keep writing. You're a writer, and that's what you do.
In America especially, we have been translating as much as we can, whether it's church prayers, whether it's literary works. What is, do you think, the significance, the importance of translators?
Oh my gosh. Where do we begin?
You think it's important, then who are some of the big names that come to mind?
Well, they're putting me on the spot because now it's going to fail me. But I will tell you, for example, Margaret Ordukhanian is a wonderful translator. Tamar Boyajan, who is just now, her book is coming out in Armenian. She's a translator as well. But it's the first fantasy book that is being written in Armenian by a writer. So Tamar Boyajan comes to mind. Margit Ordukhanian comes to mind. There are so many. I'm sure I'm gonna be receiving the wrath of many people because I can't think now.
It's not a very fair question, but I think you're moving to the younger generation. For me, Diana Hovhanessian is somebody who is the really Mount Ararat of translators. She is a well-known translator.
Yes.
Marzbet Margosyan, Ari Sevag. There are so many people who have done so much to help us understand the Armenian culture, the works of Isahakyan, Sevag, and all these other. Otherwise, we will not be able to appreciate the talent that's out there that's locked in the Armenian language. Just how important? Why is it important for you?
Because they're the portal. Without them, we're very, very limited. I mean, imagine if the poems even that we have that are in Armenian, if only Armenians were able to read them. And we're such a small culture and community, and our literature is so important. So we didn't have these translators translating in different languages. Take our culture, for example, how limited we would be. And we have such rich literature to offer. They're a portal. They're the conduit. Without them, we would really be landlocked.
What was the decision? How easy or difficult or important it was the decision to have a chapter in Armenia?
Have a chapter? I mean, I think that came very naturally because for Yalla, oh yeah, are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because we have so many people from our organization who live in Yerevan.
Really?
Yes, as well, obviously Los Angeles. Yes, so many. The person who helps us tremendously, Hofsep. Hofsep is integral to Yalla, and he lives in Armenia. I mean, we have. I can't even think.
When there are so many people living in Yerevan, how many are in your chapter? How many active or how many members do you have?
I would guess right now there is about 10, but I know that there are many more people who are now in. Now that there is a New York City chapter where I am, I'm bringing in more people. I think more people will join, and I feel really optimistic about that.
And tell us, I know that you were very excited. The first time we spoke was about for the event that you'll be holding on August the 8th. It's very important for you. And once again, congratulations as leading the chapter here in New York. What is happening on August the 8th?
So I mentioned before, we're going to have Kristen Rupenyan, who is a great writer. And she put out a short story collection years ago. And her short story, Cat Person, became viral. It was published in the New Yorker. So she's going to be speaking. Alan Semirjan is going to be playing music. I will be speaking. Olivia Katranjan, who is the founder, who lives in Luxembourg, is going to be here to speak. And we're going to have members there, non-members there, and anybody else, who would love to come and support us. It would be wonderful. The bigger, the better.
How can people contact you, or what is the RSVP like?
So if you go to the International Armenian Literary Alliance website, just Google International Armenian Literary Alliance, it'll probably be the first thing that comes up, the invitation. And once you click on it, there's an RSVP link, and there is a contribution link as well.
Այդա որքան որ անգլերենով խոսենք հայերենը մի քիչ ավելի անուշ կուկա եւ գիտեմ որ գարդայդվիս քերեցկնորեն հայերենով որովհետեւ մեր ժողովուրդը գսի հայերեն խոսեցեք ասիկա հայկական ռադիո ժամը թե ինչ է մենք կոտրել իրավունք գա այդտեղը բայց երբեմն առ ինչպես դու գիտես նախընտրեցի իր տունը որ անգլերենով արդայդվի որ ավելի ճյուրեն երբեմն բարեր ավելի ճյուրեն հայերեն անգլերենով բայց ասեմ ես ինչ է կարևորը որ ժողովուրդը իմանա
Գնամ քիքիս մասի
մայկրոֆոնը կուգտե
Okay, բայց նայիր ամեն մարդոք գիտնա անգլերենի աբիդի երթամ որովհետև եթե հայերեն բարը փնդրեմ անմիջապես հայերեն անգլերենի բիդի երթամ
շրջապատված ես հայակետներով ամես որ քեզի կուգտնա
Okay, շատ շնորհակալ եմ I feel the support and the love in this room Okay, so in January, let's start in English and I will move forward, I promise. My book, All the Ways We Lied, was published, and I've been on a book tour. Shad Hedakirkragan Yeghadze, Los Angeles Katzadzem, Detroit Yeghadzem, Rhode Island, Boston, Shad Hedakirkragan Anser Zanotatzadzem. See, now I have to revert. And it has been very moving for me, the people that I have met. The Armenian community has been so warm and so loving and welcome to me. It's been very moving. Manavat Los Angeles Yepkatsi Abdul Kirki Khanota Shadavort Sernargunes Abinzi Hamaret Glak Pait Amena Hai Kurogneru Hedei. And this is what I'm talking about. Askaz Magir Butyam Masin. Honkatsi If Ait Amena Hai Kurognernen Yalain Hai Kurognera Vor Inzi Het Gartatsin.
Bravo.
Yev Shahe Mankeriana, for example, vor Panasel Zili Pananen. Inka, I was in conversation with him at GLAC. As Deran, as Marta, he is so talented. Panasel Zalalov, im Kirkes Gartats, vor Panasel Zunche. Yev inch keretzik hartzumner hartzutz inzi. Yev just overall the community. Kani hoki yegan. Hazi vinzi gajan shnayin, hazi vinzi me imatzadzein im anunas yes ovem inchem yev yegan. Yev ankain ser mek senyagi mech. It's rare. Shat voke vorvaz vera tarza. ըսեմ։
Գիտես իսկապես մեր ժողովուրդը արժեքավոր ժողովուրդ ունենք, գնահատող ժողովուրդ ունենք, գլխաչալերին բերարվեստակի դնում, բայց արիտար պետք է ստեղծվի, եւ որքան որ արիտ ունեցած ենք, միշտ զորավի կանգնած ենք, բայց ինչ ասենք միջոցներն ալ պետք է քան Tuna պետք է որոշ չափով ժողովրդի մոդենաս, ժողովուրդը պետք է մոդենա քեզ, այնպես որ ադիգա դժվար է, բայց երբ որ իրար կդանք, ուրախանանք, ուղղակի դոմը գտարեն, ինչպես որ այսօր ռադիոժամի մեջ մենք գդոնենք կոր հայ մշակույթը գդոնենք, ագերձորեն ասեմ քեզ։
Այո, եւ ասկիրքը որ քրեցի All the Ways We Lied, հայ ընտանիքի մասին է, from Queens, New York։ Եվ չեմ գարձեր քիրք մգա հայ ընտանիքի մասին, որտեվ մայրունիս, 3 քույր եւ հայրը եւ գվիջեն։ Եվ գարձեմ մեր in our culture ես անանք մեծա որ ամոթ է, ասանք բաներու մասին չենք խոսիր, մեր ընտանեկան խնդիրներու մասին չենք խոսիր։ Բայց ես շատ հայ բարեկամներ եւ բարեկամուհիներ ունեի եւ շատ նեղված գլային իրենց ընտանեկան վիճակի մասին, բայց չէին ուզեր խոսել, ամոթ է։ Մարդու մեջ չես ասեր։ Եվ ասկիրքը ես քրեցի, it's almost like my love letter to the Armenian people. Որ գիտնակ որ ամեն ընտանիքի մեջ խնդիր կա, right? Sometimes խնդիրները they're serious and sometimes they're not. And the struggle of being a first generation Armenian and being raised here, right, by parents who are immigrants, all of this is highlighted in my book, and I find it to be extremely important. And it's been very exciting for me to be on this book tour. So Hulisin, I had a lot of events. Augustosin, I'm supporting the Yala event. Yev Septemberin, Bidishar Nakvi, I'll be in New England, I'll be in New York, I may go back to Detroit, I may end up in Los Angeles again, I don't really know. But I hope that people at least read about it. They could find it on Amazon if they wanted to. They could go to aidazilelian.com if they wanted to. And I'm also completing my short story collection where there will be no breath at all. And that is a collection about Armenians of the diaspora and culture written from the different perspectives of Armenians.
Thank you very much for everything you're doing. You've captured us. We're captivated. There are 6 of us in the studio listening to us, paying attention to what you're saying. Aida, in closing, is there anything you'd like to add?
I just really want to thank you for having me. This was really, really lovely. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you will also support Yala in any way you can. And thank you again.